Hey, shalom, shalom. First off, I'd like to say, Call Halal, Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. I'd like to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Also, would like to say peace, blessings, and salutations to the hopeful elect, the Akim that's pushing his word in all sincerity and faith throughout the four corners of the earth. For the few sincere sisters who watch and rock with us, shalom to you as well. Shalom to the new viewership, the new fruit, the new believers coming into the faith. Just back in the spirit of another lesson. Of course, the news cycle is circulating what happened here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area here in Dallas, Texas. You had this NFL football player. I think his name is Aqib Talib or something like that. It sounds like a Arab or Muslim name or whatever, but he's an ex-NFL football player, and his brother committed a murder. And I ain't gonna even say allegedly because, there's footage from, this guy at a 9-year-old Pee-wee football game, brought a gun on the field and killed his coach in front of his own son, which, it's all of the Lord that at the end of the day, the scripture says, shall a trumpet be blown in the city and the Lord have not, or shall our evil be done in the city and the Lord have not done it. So all manner of judgment, it's in the hand of the Lord ultimately, but it's just still a sad case just to see the so-called black on black crime between Jake. The scriptures, the prophecy states that Jake, and when I say Jake, I'm talking about you Israelites. It talks about the Israelites will have an evil eye towards their brother, because you don't really hear too much about Israelites killing these other nations. All the murder is done against their own people. And that's all part of the curses at the end of the day. But I was just meditating on how our people really lack conflict resolution skills. For one, with the whole situation with the murder at this Pee-wee football game, for one, he shouldn't have had a gun out there around no children anyway. Even though we know Texas, the gun laws is pretty loose out here compared to other states. But that's just grossly irresponsible. Just having a firearm, at a Pee-wee football game for one, but then just two, it ain't even that serious in the first place. It's a game, it's folly, it's sport. I know things get competitive, egos get in the way, and usually it's just the parents who are the worst when it comes to events for children. Parents act more like children themselves, but just the main thing is just a lack of conflict resolution. Even if there was a disagreement about the score, the officiating of the game or whatever, if Jake had the wherewithal to get over the conflict, that whole situation could have been avoided, even though it's the will of the Most High. But I'm just, for the lesson's sake, emphasizing on how important conflict resolution, and everything starts with us, the brothers that have this knowledge, that go out and teach, that put up these shows. We have to make sure that we're examining ourselves and our own situations, chiefly among the body of the brothers, but then just in your own avenues and faculties and your daily business duties. You have to make sure you're exercising conflict resolution. Everybody has a different opinion about certain things, and everybody has their own perception and perspective and idea of about things. So disagreements are going to happen, but you got to make sure that, especially within a brother in the body, if there's an offense or a disagreement, you got to go with your brother. You got to go to your brother first and foremost with the intent of getting over it, of coming up with a feasible, reasonable solution for both parties, even if you have to agree to disagree at the end of the day. But that mindset should be in every aspect of life. And that's really why a lot of our people senselessly get killed. Just too much emotion. It's just way too much emotion, because men have logic. The spirit of masculinity in a real man will give him logical thought process to where he understands the stakes of what will happen if you just act out of haste and just out of anger, because anger is an emotion. Now, everybody gets angry. That's not to say you can't get angry, but you have to be able to channel your anger and not allow the emotion of that anger to make you make a terrible decision, man, that you can't bring back. Like in this case with the whole murder at this football game, that son, he lost his father forever. Now, of course, he'll come back in the kingdom because he was an Israelite. But the point being made, that's going to affect that boy's development, man. He actually witnessed his father get murdered like that over a disagreement over a football game, over something that was just completely shows the lack of conflict resolution. But I'm going to just go to the scriptures, though, before I just keep rambling. This is Matthew 10:16. It says, "Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves." And that's mainly to the brothers, the body. We have to go amongst these people, whether it be on the highways and the byways, at your job, your business, when you go out in public to the store, whatever the case may be. You got most of this world, they don't got the truth. They don't believe in the Most High, whatever the case may be. But we got to make sure that we know how to navigate through this thing in wisdom, being wise as serpents and harmless as doves, man. Like, meaning we're not going to be able to take vengeance in our own hands. Like Yahweh Shah said, we're waiting on something bigger and better. This is not our rest in this kingdom, So we got to be humble. Now, of course, that's not to say if you feel threatened, you don't have the God-given right, for lack of a better word at the moment, but the so-called God-given right to defend yourself. If you feel that someone is threatening your space or your life or whatever the case may be. But just through discretion, you have to be able to discern, how to deal with matters wisely, basically. Because people are on the edge right now. The scriptures talk about in Matthew 24, the love of many shall wax cold. So people are on edge because of the rising cost of housing and rent and food and gasoline, So in your normal day-to-day interactions, you got to have a spirit of conflict resolution, because it's getting to that point, man. You may have to be able to finesse your way out of certain situations, with your mouthpiece. But just the real point of why I want to do the lesson, that whole situation at that football game, man, Jake, it's sad. And that's just one example of many, that's just a notable example to date. But even with these rappers and all this drill music and just all of the gangbang culture, just any argument that Jake have, a lot of times, man, if they had conflict resolution skills, all of the senseless killing of a person that looked just like you, it could be avoided a lot of times, man. But I'm gonna get the next scripture. Because I think the family of the brother of the Jake that got killed, they want to file a suit on this guy. I think his name is Aqib Talib. But whatever the case may be, they might actually get awarded punitive damages, because that's gross negligence, what was committed on and it was caught on video footage, man. So that whole situation is that just pinpoints, man, like a big issue within the nation of Israel right now, man, and dealing with the 2/3 and why 2/3 just got to go. Because 2/3 refuse to even develop conflict resolution skills. They just want to act in pure emotions and just always want to shoot somebody Wild Wild West style, man. It's just no reasoning with 2/3 of our people. But for those that can hear this word, that can receive it, pray to the Most High, put the Spirit on you to apply these things, But this is Romans 12:18. It says, "If it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men." So the point in getting that is, like I said, we understand this is Esau's kingdom. The Most High set him up to rule for an appointed time. So we're not going to be exalted in this place until Yahweh Shah comes to redeem us as this place is being destroyed. So as much as we live right now, we should try to be peaceable with all men. It's just don't just stir up dust if you don't have to stir up dust, man. Just stirring up strife, You know, if it's not necessary to be combative or just be in a spirit of tension amongst somebody, just move the right way. You know, and I ain't saying you got to kiss everybody's ass and all of that, but just show respect, and respect is given. That's what I was always told. Now, of course, you don't show no respect to somebody that don't respect you, but if you know it's disrespect from a person, the best thing to do is just you go your way and that person go their way, you know, and always use sound judgment, you know, because we're going to have to be of a more sound mind as we go through the gauntlet of, you know, Jacob's trouble and, you know, the hour of temptation that's going to lead up to the epic destruction of America. Wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength of thy salvation, man. We're going to have to pray for stronger minds, man, because people and these demons are going to do stuff to incite us, to, you know, to agitate us, to make us feel anger. But we have to overrule the emotional element of anger to make sure that we're not acting in haste and making terrible choices out of anger and emotion. We have to have the spirit of composure that Yahweh Shah had to the best of our ability, you know, because Yahweh Shah, he was our greatest example to date of just pure composure, man. You know, just knowing how to deal, man. A lot of situations can just be avoided just by having the mind and the wherewithal to resolve conflict. We should be a people of solving problems. We should be a solution-oriented people. Well, of course, the Most High, he's raising up the elect through this word to get in that mindset. But 2/3 we know are not going to get it. That's why they're going to ultimately have to be brought down on this side by death, by pain. But I'm going to jump to the next precept, Salakia. It was something I want to get in Proverbs. Because, I mean, it's all types of our people murdering one another. But just that whole situation with the football game, it's just Jake can never stoop to the lowest of the low, it seems, man. You know, Jake's behavior. You know, a child sees his father get killed like that at something like at a football game, man. And it's only going to get worse, man. But the problem ultimately is because our people, they went away from the standard of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai and keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments, you know. But it's just a big lack of conflict resolution, man. That's just plaguing the nation. This is Proverbs 16. I think it's 20. Yup. This is Proverbs 16 and 20. It says, He that handleth a matter wisely shall find good, and whoso trusteth in the Lord, happy is he. So the point being made in that precept is he that handleth a matter wisely shall find good. So if you deal with a situation the right way, you're going to get a good outcome, you know, especially with dealing with people, even people who you got a difference in idea and philosophy, thought, or whatever. You know, we're going to have to deal with certain things among this world right now, man. And we're going to have to know how to deal wisely. That's the point being made. Trusting in the Lord that he's going to guide us through that spirit of wisdom and not trying to basically exalt yourself and end up making a bad move, man. That the Lord allow you to be caught up in that trap of your own willfulness or self-willfulness, if that word makes sense. But I'm going to get another precept. Because ultimately, man, everybody just has to rule their spirit more and more, man. Like, we all fighting to get those emotional elements out of us, just being a nation where a lot of us didn't have fathers growing up. We didn't really have, you know, men that could lead and show us the example of how to be men. It was when we learned this truth that we're growing into that process of being men of the Lord. So, I mean, I'm talking first and foremost to the brothers, the body of the believers, but also just anybody that here, man. conflict resolution, like, even if you don't believe in the scriptures, man, that could just have our nation collectively in more unity, you know? And that's crazy. The other nations just deal with us the way that they deal with us because they see we don't even deal with each other the right way, man. There's no way of conflict resolution. Even within the other nations, if they have disagreements, they're going to figure out a way to where it ain't going to be big bloodshed and just, you know, losses taken on each side, man. And it's shameful that our people are in this state, but we understand that the prophets do it. It's according to the curses, according to our people's disobedience. You know, that's why we're ultimately in this situation, but we still, you know, sigh and cry for all of the things that we have to see on this side. But this is Proverbs 25:8. Hold on. Thought it was like Salakia. I was looking for something else, but I think I may have lost where it was at. Oh, okay. Salaki. It's Proverbs 25:28. It's the very last verse. It says, he that hath no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls. So that's the point I was making. You got to have rule over your spirit, man. Of course, you know, we all have different levels of enthusiasm and passion about certain things. Some brothers are more opinionated when it comes to certain things, you know, being agitated. Certain brothers may deal with situations of being agitated and, you know, angry and upset different ways. But as we go further down this stretch, you know, as the course gets more difficult, we have to be in the mindset to rule our spirit. It says, he that hath no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls. So that means you're in a vulnerable state if you can't rule your spirit, man. That means you're just very unpredictable. You're not stable. So wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. We have to allow wisdom to guide us and be that anchor of stability. But so one more precept I'll get, and I'll just end out the quick lesson. And I know the elder Yashawamba, he always brings this, you know, up as well. Just conflict, the lack of conflict resolution, man, it's sad. It's just sad to see, you know. But this is Sirach or Ecclesiasticus chapter 6:1. It says, instead of a friend, become not an enemy. For thereby thou shalt inherit an ill name, shame, and reproach. Even so shall a sinner that hath a double tongue. So just an add to the lesson with moving wisely and being peaceable with all men. Like I was saying, you don't necessarily have to get along with everybody, but it says instead of a friend, become not an enemy. So that process of becoming, or instead of a friend becoming not an enemy, that means you may disagree with someone, but instead of just going all balls to the wall out of emotion, you can reasonably agree to disagree and y'all both go your own separate ways. Instead of a friend, become not an enemy. So we're in a point where conflict resolution in all aspects is going to be heavily needed, you know. So just pray that the Most High pour the spirit of wisdom on you more and more, of course, added with faith. So with all being said, Lord willing, this edified, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shah, by Hashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom, peace and blessings to the elect.